If you are new to MPOWER's live sessions, I have a few tips so you can get the most out of it. At the bottom of your webinar screen, you should see something that says Q&A. We have a lot of chat moderators or members from our team here to help answer your questions. So at any time you have a question about anything MPOWER related or not MPOWER related, please drop it in the Q&A field. You can ask as many questions as you want. The sooner you ask, the sooner you get a response. So please go ahead and start dropping your questions in there. Awesome. So my name is Claire. Claire Alman. I've been a marketing manager at MPOWER, approaching 6 years, which is crazy. And yeah, one of the things that has always just impressed me over the entirety of my career at MPOWER is just how passionate this entire team is about helping future international students. And a lot of that's because much of our team are former international students that struggled, and we're on a mission to make the journey smoother, better, more fulfilling for all the international students that come after us. So great to have you here. We're going to focus today on back to school funding, how to prepare for the school year ahead. And but before we begin, and to give more people some time to join, I'm going to send out a brief poll for the team, and then we're going to let our esteemed panelists introduce themselves while you complete the poll. So one moment, and I will launch it. Launch. Great. So I have Sasha, Mario, and Rini here from the MPOWER team. And Sasha, let's start with you. Do you mind introducing yourself for the audience?
Sure thing, Claire. It's a pleasure to meet everybody. My name is Sasha. I'm the head of corporate strategy for MPOWER Financing. I've been with the firm for over 5 years now. Just time just flies when you're having fun. And I'm a former international student myself who can talk about my experience studying abroad in the US for my master's as well.
Great. Thanks so much, Sasha. Yes, time does fly when you're having fun. Over to you, Mario.
Sure thing. Hey, everybody. My name is Mario. So I joined MPOWER around 2 years ago, and I was originally from China. I came to the States back in 2009. After that, I was in University of Delaware for a accounting major. After that, I spent around 9 years or 10 years in the Big Four CPA firm, UI and PwC, and also I'm a CPA, Certified Public Accountant. And I'm happy to be with MPOWER, and now my title is Director of Finance with the company.
Great. And then Rini.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. And I am the Associate Manager for Underwriting here in MPOWER. In exactly 7 days, I'll complete 2 wonderful years with MPOWER. And like mentioned before, time just flies, and I've been enjoying my time here in MPOWER. I'm not an international student, but I used to be one aspiring international student and could not leave India because of the financial distress or burden that I would be giving to my parents. So I stayed back here, and I'm really glad that I'm able to help all the aspiring students out there. So yeah, that's about me. Thank you.
Great. And as you just heard us all say, time does indeed fly. So our goal today is to, 1, answer all your questions in a quick session, and 2, make sure you're prepared for the school year ahead. And so those are our goals. And I'm going to end the poll. 5, 4, 3, and 1. All right. Great. So today we have about 72% of our attendees are from Africa. Great to have you, with 12% from South and Southeast Asia, and a fair bit actually from North America as well. A pretty diverse mix in terms of where people are in their education journey. 27% are still planning their studies. 24% have applied, waiting to hear back. 35% have been accepted into a program, congratulations, and 15% are currently enrolled in school. Great to have all of you. And then the most important question, what is your favorite morning beverage? Also a very diverse mix. Coffee at 35%. Oh, it didn't win, darn. Then we have tea at 36%, narrowly beating out coffee. Juice at 6%, water at 21%, and then 2% shun beverages in favor of sleep. Fair. Actually, Sasha, Mario, Rini, quick, what's your favorite morning beverage?
I'm literally drinking iced coffee as we speak, so I think that's what I would choose. But I think whoever said sleep had the right idea.
Yeah, for me, it's a hot coffee from Starbucks. Whenever I can, I normally get 1 cup.
Nice.
My answer is going to be tea. I'm going to stick with it. Chai.
Chai. Nice. Great. All right. So that was us having fun. So over to the content. And so for everyone that just joined, I see that number just bumped up a fair bit. Please start dropping your questions in that Q&A function at the bottom, and our team will start answering your questions. You can ask questions at any point through this session, as many as you'd like. All right. So a few things. And actually, no, let's start with Sasha. Congratulations, Sasha. So today we're reviewing the different ways that students can fund their education, particularly right before the school starts. Can you talk a little bit about any struggles you faced as a former international student in funding, or friends of yours had faced?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think ultimately it's important to realize that there are many sources of funding available. Obviously, in the MPOWER world, we talked a lot about loans and scholarships, but especially in Canada, but in the US as well, international students often seek out work opportunities, whether it's on campus, or co-op employment. I think it's going to be particularly important now because as we see the US dollar is extremely strong, it means that a lot of the students that we see from around the world, maybe they used to have enough money in Indian rupees or whatever their home currency is, but because of a relatively strong US dollar, that might not any longer be enough to help cover their tuition or living expenses. I think students might realize, hey, living in Boston or New York is more expensive than I initially thought. So I think it's important to consider all sources of funding from employment, co-op jobs, but also to ask your university because they often have jobs on campus available for students that generally pay pretty well. They also might work with trusted loan providers and scholarship providers that can help students address any shortfall through loans and scholarships.
Awesome. Thanks, Sasha. So Mario, just a similar question to set the stage. Can you talk up through any problems you face funding, or you see friends that are international students are currently facing?
Yeah, so really, I think Sasha has covered it pretty well. Really, it's a tough time because as a international student, you're here, have a lot of pressure to study and to really conquer all the courses with a second language. But meanwhile, you got to pay also the tuition, health insurance, and everything. So on top of all the ways that Sasha mentioned, there are also other programs that you can also take advantage of at MPOWER to further bridge your funding. So we have loans for sure. On top of that, we have a referral program, which my team gonna drop a link into the chat box. You can also explore. Really how it works is very simple. You just refer a friend and your friend finish your application, and then both you and your friend are gonna get some sweet cash from MPOWER for that. That's one. And also we have a rolling scholarship program that if you follow our website, we have those like summer or like women in STEM or different type of the scholarship. So it's more like a essay competition. If you like to write your essay on that, and we will review those and pick the winner from all the applicants or the essays we receive, and then the winner will get some also the reward in a cash form. So those are the additional way you can get other funding. But also our goal is to make sure you are not distracted from your main goal, which is studying, and then get a promising career after the school in the North America.
Awesome. Thank you both for setting the stage. So we're about to review a bit more detail about how to fund yourself if you're missing funds for the semester ahead. You're going to talk through about how to best establish residency is the wrong word, but basically establish your living situation in the US or Canada, and then also finding the most out of your education. And so starting with funding, Rini, I know we've seen increased demand from students. Do you have any scenarios or examples from MPOWER that you can share with us about that increased demand that you're seeing?
Yes, absolutely. We have had, I mean, all of us have gone through difficult situations of COVID, and there are some students who still stood by and started their program well in advance in fall 2021 from their home country as well. We've been very understanding about that aspect, and we allowed the students to, I mean, we also funded the students when they started their program from home country, but the demand of the education loans, the students moving to achieve their dreams have increased so much. Specifically, if I talk about fall 2022, not only for all the new students who are moving from their home countries, but also for all the existing students who started off in fall 2021 and are moving to US or Canada now, right? And that reminds me also, I was just working on one application today, and the student I worked on their first application. I was lucky enough to work and help them with their when they were starting off their journey as a student as well from their home country. So the few aspects that we look at in underwriting as well is the total cost that you might be incurring while for your studies and also for your living expenses as well, right? So MPOWER supports you in all the way possible. And we also look at the funding scenarios that you have, different ways of funding that we accept as that you can use towards completion of your successful completion of your program. Now, during the course of your program, a lot of things can change. Maybe the personal funds or different types of funding that you had provided us might have depleted because of a family emergency, or you got interested in an additional internship or an additional course that you might wanted to take. So all of these scenarios might change the course of funding that we had gauged at the beginning of your program as well, right? So when it comes to, and if you really want to have additional funding, we are here to help you out. We would look at your current state. We would look at how you've been doing academically, how much of funding have you exhausted, how much more help would you require from our end. So all of these aspects are put into picture, and that's why we are also seeing an increased number of applications from students also in school. So I was really glad that I was able to close that application, helping the student, again, based on the algorithm that we have, fortunately. So yeah, so yeah, that's all about the increased number of applications that we have been seeing, and that's why a little bit of delay from our end to process the applications as well.
So as Rini said, clearly a lot of students right now are coming to MPOWER for gap funding. So there's definitely an increased need that we're seeing. So Rini, get back to you. From an underwriting perspective, how should students figure out how much more money to request?
So yeah, I started a little bit there on the first time I spoke about this as well, right? So planning is the key, is all I can say. So when you start off your program, I know there's a lot of planning that goes in writing your competitive exams, planning your funding, and living aspect when you move to a new place, the cultural adventure. So all of that I understand, but the funding and the studies part of it is also very important, and planning and sticking to the plan is as important as it is. So when you start the program, you know how many credits you might have to take to complete your program successfully. What are the additional things that you might have to complete, right? And usually the universities would not change the cost of the program for an academic year. It usually increases by 5 to 7% on year basis. So you can plan based on the courses that you're interested in beforehand. And say you want to take 3 courses in fall and you want to take 4 courses in spring. So you can plan that beforehand, the funding that can be for each of these differences that you're taking, you can plan for that as well. Now, like I said, we are here to take a look at the total cost that you might incur, but that's the general information that we have. If there's any additional information that you want to give us during your application, we will take that into consideration and work in your interest. Now, if you have exhausted a part of your funding, say for an example, you needed about $80,000 to complete your education, $80,000 to complete your education for 4 semesters. Now you have done completed 2 semesters. That means you've exhausted about 40,000 of it. So you have, again, you need more 40,000. We do all of that analysis at the beginning of your course. However, like I said, for any unforeseen reason, if you're unable to, cater to the rest of the 40,000, you can come back to us. But it's always best to plan and understand how much would you actually need for that particular semester. Because eventually you will be ending up paying the interest for the increased amount or increased amount that you might be seeking from us. So, like I said, we fund again tuition, health insurance, all your books and supplies, and living expenses as well. So I hope I was able to answer. Planning is the key, is all I can say at the end.
Absolutely. And so, so if students can't plan and they're in a situation where they need a loan quickly from us or they need extra funding, Rini, what's the best way for them to go about that to get funding quickly if they're unable to plan?
Absolutely. So there are two type of students that we can have, right? Students who have already been our borrowers and students who are coming to us for the first time. So the students who are already our borrowers, we call them repeat borrowers. So if you are a repeat borrower, on your dashboard, you will be able to see how much more can you avail from us. So if you have any additional need that is required from you, that is required for completion of your program or to join the upcoming semester, you can go to your dashboard and take a look at that. And your application will be expedited because we already have partial information from you. We would just need information about your current state of how much of the funding have you exhausted and how have you been doing academically. And if you are a first-time student and you've already enrolled in the program, you already have the information, all the information at your disposal that we would require. And it will be a quick turnaround from our end to help you as soon as possible.
Awesome. So Mario, are there any benefits to getting a last minute loan with MPOWER if you're unfortunately put in that situation?
Sure thing. But also, as Rini said, number one thing is planning to make sure you stick to it, but also surprises happen for sure. But in that case, for MPOWER, we have been keeping improving from every year. So our process has been also sharpened every year also. So now if you apply with a last minute loan, then our process is very fully digital. And we're able to give you a conditional offer like immediately after you finish the application. So that's one thing. And also based on your status with a company, like Rini said, if you are already a customer, then just go to the website to check your dashboard because you have your pre-approved amount, see how much still left. And then also just to reiterate what Rini very helpfully mentioned, that for the existing customer, who are in your second or like third semester, everything we already have those on your profile in our system. So there's no more like the painful, like the very first time, like the collecting document or that can be way smoother as the first time applier. So don't hesitate if you are running into a last minute situation, just act quick, because I think the best timing to apply is maybe half year, 7 months, whatever ago. A second best time is like now. So if you really need it, just do it now. That's my recommendation.
Just do it now from Mario. Great. So just to reiterate some key points about funding that the team just shared. 1, planning is perfect, or planning is the best case scenario, but everyone can't always plan. So if you're put in a position where you need money last minute for your education, there's a few things you can do. 1 is come to MPOWER and apply for a new loan. If you don't have one yet, you can apply as low as $2,000 or up to $100,000. If you're an existing borrower, you can just go straight to your dashboard and figure out how much money you're eligible for. And then you can also write us through our Contact Us form if you need an expedited decision because of any upcoming deadlines. So many of the ways that we work with students when they need last minute funding. There is one more benefit which I'm excited to share, and Mario said earlier. MPOWER has two programs, so you can have more money in your pocket. One is our referral program. Our chat moderator will likely drop it in. You can earn $300 for each person you successfully refer. And if they take you up on it, they also get $100 when they're approved. You can refer as many people as you want, no limit. The other really cool program we have are scholarships just for international students. We have 5 currently, and we're constantly launching new ones. So check out our website, see if any of the scholarships apply for you. As long as you're international, there will be at least one, if not more, ready for you. And then I'll highlight one more program, which is our monthly scholarship. It's $4,000 offered each month to different candidates. Typically, it's a simple essay question. So go check it out and apply each month for your chance to get more money to pay for education. So loans, scholarships, our referral program. And then there are also a variety of on-campus jobs available for graduate students that we're really excited to help you prepare for if you need a resume review or anything else similar for our past success career program. So a lot of options on how we help students. Moving to their travel segment. So we get a lot of questions about moving from, the home country to the US and Canada. And I think we have a lot of people in attendance today who actually have not yet started their program. So Sasha and Mario, I might have just butchered your names weirdly, but anyway, Sasha, can you share a little bit about any travel problems you've experienced going abroad, and then any solutions you've identified and you can share with this group?
I think these days, more than ever before, it's important to plan ahead and make sure you understand rules regarding visas, COVID testing, and anything else that might be required. The good thing is that your school will be able to provide up-to-date information on any COVID vaccine rules or testing rules that might apply to your unique situation. But I think it's important to also not forget about the simple things, what happens after you land. That means making sure that you have housing taken care of, that you know where to get groceries, that you know how to commute to classes once you move into student housing or wherever you'll be staying. And a little bit of this planning ahead can make your life a lot easier once you actually arrive in the US and Canada for your studies.
Awesome. And so Mario, similar question for you.
Yeah. So I think Sasha covered it very well on the overall perspective. I'll just do some specifics. I think like packing is very key. Make sure don't overpack or underpack. When I was coming to the States, I think I even packed some cutting board with me, which was way too heavy and way too much. That's to make sure, in US, you can buy most of the stuff. You don't have to pack every single thing. But also on top of that, as Sasha said, getting a place to stay is very key. If you know anybody local, like your friends, maybe 1 year or 2 years ahead of you, then to just get a lease signed before you come to the States would be very helpful. Because if you spend maybe 2 days in motel, it's okay. But maybe 10 or 1 month, maybe it's pretty considerable cost for you in terms of the living cost. So the shorter you can stay in the hotel or motel in the States when you just come here, the better for you financially. And also for different countries, due to the COVID situation or whatever, the waiting time is very different for visa. To make sure you apply for the visa appointment as early as you can. So you can do that. Plus, I think US have different policies on the vaccination, not only on COVID, but also other things. I think that's one thing you cannot rush, because sometimes you need 2 or 3 shots for certain things. Make sure you plan that also before your flight. One thing you want to avoid is your flight is coming up, but you have no time for your second or third shot for certain things. Just check the US policy to certain countries, because the country have different requirements based on their policy or recognition for the different country situation.
Thanks so much, Mario. So I'm going to dig into that a little bit. That was great advice. So I think the most common question we get outside of the basics are about legal documentation. Can you talk through a little bit about what's expected when you come to the US or Canada? Well, this is for the maybe you can do US, Mario, and Sasha can cover.
Yeah, maybe I'll cover the US part. So make sure you have things like, your, for sure, very obvious, your passport, visa, I-20, and all the things you can think of to bring it with you, because people normally think it's not an issue, but there are people every year they got stopped at the airport because they got some key files missing. Make sure you triple check before you get on your trip. And also, when you are in the States, there are some very key files that are gonna really help your life living there. Like one thing is the social security number. It's gonna really help not only your convenience in living, but also when you apply for a job, if you have a social there, it's gonna really also kind of boost your image in front of the employer. So one way to get it is maybe just once you are in school, get a part-time job in dining hall or library or wherever. So once you have your first pay stub, no matter how low, like $7 or $70, how low it is, school will help you to get your first social number, and the number will stick with you for the whole life. Make sure you plan that out, maybe in your first year in school. And the second is most of the school requires health insurance. So, but for students, you always can get a very discounted insurance plan with the school, so make sure you explore that. Also ask your friend who came to the school earlier, or can be also very good resources, because that's really like different, like school by school, or even if you are in the West Coast or you are in the mountain areas, it can be also different like trend how the insurance works. So make sure you check with the people from your school, going to be more helpful. And then last but not least, the bank cash, right? Make sure maybe your first thing when you are in the States, make sure you get a reputable bank set up. So by that, I mean, maybe if it's a bank, like a national bank, it may be easier, because you never know when you will relocate or get a job somewhere else or even transfer schools. So make sure to pick some like Bank of America or Wells Fargo, this kind of national bank, so you can really save your headache down the road for cannot find a branch in a new state or city. So that's my recommendation.
So Sasha, does your answer differ at all if for students traveling to Canada?
No, honestly, I think a lot of what applies in the US also applies in Canada. I think the main important difference is that, of course, the visa requirements are different because they are different countries. So in Canada, ultimately, you'd be flying to the airport with an LOI or letter of introduction, and ultimately you would get your study permit once you land in Canada. So I think it's just important to make sure that when you're boarding a flight, you have those documents in hand, because you will need them once you arrive in Canada. Make sure they're not in your checked luggage or anything else as well. I think an opportunity in Canada is that almost all of the students in this chat will be landing at Toronto International Airport. That's by far Canada's biggest airport, and we have a lot of schools that we support in the Toronto area, which means that it's possible to quickly find a community of other like-minded international students in your area. You can talk to them about what successes or challenges they've had with housing, banking and finance, and everything else that you'll eventually need to figure out as an international student. One opportunity which international students have in Canada that they don't have in the US is that in Canada, international students can work either on campus or off campus for up to 20 hours a week. Whereas in the US, they can only work on campus, which is why in Canada, students often, they find jobs, whether it's tutoring off campus or even like driving Ubers or something like that, to help make some money on the side to help cover living expenses, or maybe just buy some personal luxury items as well. But I think it just goes to, again, that finding a community of students in your area is absolutely going to be tremendously helpful in managing your new life, whether in the US or in Canada.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So a few summary points, I think. One, I heard again, plan ahead whenever possible, figure out what's needed by each government before you go abroad, some vaccinations and so on. Second, make sure you are set up financially in your new country. That Mario mentioned some bank account, social security number, a few other hygiene items that are needed to be established. And then finally, once you're over here, there are some things we mentioned earlier, like getting an on-campus job, finding community of students that can just help you be successful, which Sasha just reviewed.
Great.
So,
hey, Claire, let me add one more thing. So I think Sasha brought a very good point on the on-campus job. So in the States also, you are free to work on campus, like I said, dining hall, library, wherever. But also in States, there's one thing called CPT. It's a short for curricular practical training. So that is really going to be useful for you because you still are allowed to work outside of the campus, meaning an internship or this kind of like the jobs, like the some short-term jobs. You need to have the CPT approved. So with that, I see many of my fellow international students do is they need to get the offer of internship. Then you can apply for the CPT with the school. Then once you get that, you can legally work outside of the campus, which is very key because we will cover that in the career session down the road also. But yeah, to make sure you are legally compliant with the rules in the States also. The CPT and OPT is something that you will need to use after your school, that you will have that make you legally work in the States before your work visa, which is called H-1B, kicks in, which will later lead to the green card or citizen. That's some stories later. So that's like the process.
Excellent. So I'm going to move us along so everyone here, if you haven't yet dropped questions in the Q&A, now is the time. We're going to switch over to user questions in a moment. So look at the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen and go ahead and ask us whatever you'd like. And so last question, team, I'm going to ask each of you this. How can MPOWER help with making sure that our attendees here have a fantastic semester? And I will start with Sasha.
I think there's so many advantages to an MPOWER loan, but I think in this day and age, one thing we see is that in a rising interest rate environment, interest rates are rising all around the world, but an MPOWER loan rate never goes up over time. It is fixed over the life of the loan. It can go down. We have a lot of great, easy ways that students can bring down their interest rates. But whereas if you just read any online forum, a lot of people are talking about, oh, my interest rate went up. That will never happen with an MPOWER loan. Your rate on an MPOWER loan can only go down. So for students who are looking for whether it's a little bit of top-up funding or we're looking for up to $100,000 worth of funding for your education abroad, MPOWER can help. MPOWER, we believe in supporting high potential students from around the world, and I hope that we can be a part of all of your educational journeys.
Nice. Same question, Mario. How can we help make sure everyone here has a great semester?
Yeah, sure. And I normally hate to repeat people's point, but I think Sasha's point is very good to repeat because I don't think it's been said enough, like either on the internet or somewhere else. Because I think people, especially when I was in school, I didn't realize, oh, what is the like floating interest? What is the fixed interest? Why it matters, right? But that's really, I think normally for a regular person, the moment you realize it matters is when you see, oh, why my interest bumped from 10% to 13% this month? What's going on? So that's like, because especially now in the rising interest environment, surprises really gonna happen. It's like, it's just a matter of time. So that's why for MPOWER, I'm a finance guy. I like talking about the interest, these concepts. But technically, we are taking the hit or the risk for our students to make our loan fixed rate. Because we would love to make it variable because that's gonna pass the risk down to you guys. But instead, we choose to fix rate because you will never be surprised on that. I'm sure you will do your research, but when you do your research, you will see some other comments from some other lenders saying, "Oh, I don't like it because I got a surprising letter saying that my rate hiked for XYZ." So that's a very big thing. That's why I think MPOWER can make your life much easier financially with no surprises by doing the fixed rates. And also to make your semester better, so we have this program called Path to Success. And that's gonna really help you to review and sharpen your resume. Because when I think most of the people who come to the States, you have it in mind, which is you want to maybe at least get a job or intern or something to experience what is like in the States, not only in the school, but also in the real, like the social life or the adults life, like work, right? So we will help you to get there by making sure you are ready for the screening on the resumes and also the screenings on the interviews. We offer mock interviews to make sure you are ready when you first time see a recruiter or interviewer. So all of that is very key because once you are in school, you will see that opportunities, they are there, but they're also limited. You don't want to like burn your first or two interview as your trial run. You want to do the trial run with someone, you can really trial run with, but not really, cost your real shot there. So I think that's both from money, the fixed rate, and also the career preparation. Those are the things that I think MPOWER is doing pretty well, and we are doing we are working very hard to make sure they are happening for our customers and students.
And then Rini, same question, and then we'll switch to user, I keep saying user, attendee questions. So Rini, how can MPOWER help make sure everyone here has a great semester?
So I think Sasha and Mario covered two great points on the interest rate and path to success. I'm personally a big fan of path to success because it does not only help you get a job and what happens after you have graduated, but during the course of your academia or during the course of your studies as well, you can get in touch with us. And we have a network that can help you in how you can do better in your courses as well, right? And like I was talking about the application where we helped the student previously. So unfortunately, the person was not able to do very well in their first semester when we looked at their the documents that they had provided on their academics, but they picked up in their next semester. And trust me, MPOWER is here to help you with any difficulties. All of us can imagine that the first semesters are going to be a little bit difficult to settle down and things like that. So yeah, and apart from that, why all of us are here, the gap funding, the currency fluctuations that Sasha has already spoken about, the immediate funding that you might require. So you can come to MPOWER, and we are here to process your request as soon as possible to help you get that additional funding to successfully enroll and complete your semester as well. Moreover, so I also saw a question in the Q&A section about the interest-only repayments. What if I'm not able to pay the interest during the course of my studies as well? So we understand that. We have a multiple array of solutions for you. All you need to do is reach out to us and let us know that you are facing a hardship or you are facing an issue in paying the interest-only payment, and we will, our servicing team will work with you very closely to understand the issue and help you get a job or to restructure your loan, or there are several facilities that we have like CBPO, which you can check out on your website, check out on our website. So yeah, so I think we have pretty much covered most of the things, how you can have a successful semester and all the support you can get from it.
I have one quick follow-up question. You said an acronym. I don't think our attendees here will know. What is CBPO?
Yes, so CBPO is Credit Building Payment Option. And to elaborate a little bit more on that, where if say you have an interest of $100+ or $200+ every month, right? And you're not able to make that complete payment with us. Like, when international students come to United States, you don't have a credit history. And MPOWER helps you build that credit history by providing you a loan without an existing credit history in the US. So this CBPO, that is Credit Building Payment Option, allows you to make a subsidized payment, that is a lower interest payment, and also helps you keep building your credit in the United States.
Yeah, credits are very key in the States. It goes with you everywhere, and it's gonna be, so that's also one difference from MPOWER to other lenders. So we'll work with you to make it very flexible, your payment amount or timing or plan, but our goal is to help you to create your credit file while even you are in school. So you will be surprised that when you are, when you're graduating, you already have some pretty solid credit score, which also going to help your career and life in the States, which is also a valuable point I want to reiterate after training.
Thank you so much. So moving on to our long list of questions. This one is for both Sasha and Mario. I'm going to start with Mario. Can you talk the people on the line, our attendees, our wonderful joinees here, through what the loan can cover in the US and what the loan can cover in Canada? And so Mario, maybe you can talk about the US, and Sasha,
Sure.
Canada, differences.
Yeah, so the bulk part of the loan gonna cover your tuition. That's the main purpose for the loan. And for that part, so what the process is like is you will apply for a certain amount of the money, and we will approve it once after your files is passed the review, and then we will work with the school to verify that school will certify how much money they really gonna need. And then we will only disperse the needed part of the money to the school. But also, we are well aware that while you are in the States, tuition is not the only thing you are paying for the rent, you are paying for the insurance, you are paying for some living costs also in the States. So which is also noted in your I-20. In your I-20, it will also tell you, hey, how much is estimated for living cost. And also your schools, they are experts on how much a person, either you are like a senior or first year graduate, how much people normally pay. So on that part, school can also certify to make sure, okay, so we think the student is gonna also need X amount of money on the living cost. So we will disperse both the tuition and living cost to the school. And then school will work with you to disperse the living cost to you, because school won't just pay the rent for you, so you need to pay yourself. But tuition will stay with school, and that's also one big part of us different from others. We deal with school directly, so we have the existing relationship with all those around 400 schools in the North America. So you don't have to worry about getting the money cross borders and wire to school, all those fees or headaches. No, we do it for you, and also we do it both for tuition and living cost. But that's for the States. So back to you, Sasha, for the Canada.
Good thing, Mario. Thank you so much. So as Mario mentioned, in the US, we're able to cover not just tuition, but also living expenses. In Canada, generally, schools only let us cover tuition. And I want to clarify that. That means that the only schools in Canada, I believe, where we can cover living expenses like housing are the University of Toronto and York University. Getting a lot of questions in the chat too about enrollment deposits, tuition deposits. Unfortunately, those also we cannot cover in Canada at this time. So in Canada, we can cover up to 100,000 US dollars. It's about 130,000 Canadian dollars, but for the most part, only worth of tuition on invoice tuition and not including that of an enrollment deposit.
Awesome. Thanks for clarifying and adding the extra details, Sasha. So Rini, back around to you. So I have a question here. Are MPOWER loans partially or fully funded during the study period? And I think maybe to rephrase that is, how much money can someone apply for? Is it 100% of tuition, 50% of tuition? And should someone apply for the whole year? Just tell us more.
Sure. So you can, it depends on how much does your course cost, basically. But you are free to apply with us for $2,001 to $100,000, as mentioned previously. So if 100,000 covers the complete tuition and living expenses for your particular course and school, we are all lucky. But otherwise, there's no set percentage to which MPOWER supports you. If it falls within $100,000, we can, and if it falls within the algorithm that we use, we would be more than happy to help you.
And as a follow-up, when do students start paying back the loan?
Sure. See, the student starts paying the interest-only payment while they are in school. And after that, they get a 6 month, after they graduate, they get a 6 months of grace period as well, where they just pay the interest only payment. That means you will not be paying back the loan, the actual loan, the principal amount, until you complete your education plus 6 months of grace period. Post that, you start paying both part principal and the interest amount together. That would be your EMI. So that's when your actual repayment starts.
Excellent. So I actually have a lot of questions about one topic, which is sort of that credit building option that Rini mentioned earlier. What happens if I can't pay the interest during my schooling due to just some type of shortfall? Sasha, do you mind talking a little bit about the credit building option that MPOWER provides? And then also sharing any information you have about your own experiences with credit in the US.
Sure, absolutely. So at MPOWER, we do ask that students make interest-only payments while they're in school. And there are several advantages to this. Number one, making interest-only payments while in school stops the interest from accumulating. And then by the time you graduate, your debt burden is much higher. So it helps you a lot as a student if you're able to make interest-only payments. Reason number two, we can start building you a credit history. And a credit history, as we've talked about, is extremely helpful, not just for loan purposes, but to help you maybe even get a job or get a car after you graduate as well. These are all ways that we at MPOWER try to make sure that our students are as successful as possible, not only while they're in school, but after graduation as well. That being said, we do realize that sometimes making interest-only payments while in school can be difficult, so we also offer what's called a credit building payment option, or CBPO, which is it's a partial payment. What that means is you don't need to pay the full interest, but you're able to pay a little bit every month, and just even a little bit of a payment. I forget what it is, like $25, $35 a month, something in that range, helps us to start building you, again, a US credit score, which is going to be tremendously helpful to you by the time you graduate. That being said, a lot of students do choose to make the full interest-only payment while they're in school. When I was finishing my master's, I think I had something like 3 part-time jobs while studying and finishing my master's degree as well. And it's all thanks to the fact that these opportunities are absolutely available to students. Schools help you find these opportunities, and therefore, a lot of students choose to and are able to make interest-only payments while they're still enrolled.
Awesome. Thanks, Sasha. Mario, I hope you're ready. So I know you talked a little bit about interest rates earlier, and we have a few people asking if my interest rate is going to change each year. Can you talk about a bit more about fixed versus variable interest rate and also the interest rate discounts at MPOWER?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So very short answer, our interest rate, once you sign the promissory note with us, it will not change. And it will change in your favor, but it won't surprise you. So it will stay as that. But then we have some discount which we offer, gonna change the rate down to in your favor, meaning that we have three batches of 0.5% of interest discount. One is if you set up your auto payment, then so that's an instant 0.5 discount on that. And then if you successfully pay your 6 consecutive payment, it's another 0.5 discount there. And then when you graduate, whether you have a job offer or you have your diploma, that's a third 0.5% of 0.5% of a discount. So whatever rate you are approved at, so you are subject to a further 1.5, which is not little, so 1.5% of discount on top of that. But will you get surprises on interest rates going up? No, so that's not going to happen. Not like some other lenders. So that's one more time. Make sure you also do your own research, right? What is the fixed rate and a variable rate, and what's that's gonna cost you. So you don't want to be surprised. And also, I'm sure people always trust yourself more when you do your own research. Make sure you do that, and don't get surprised when you go with a lender that you got, oh, why my interest rate hiked for 2% after half a year? It's not cool. So don't be that person.
So circling back to Rini. So Rini, we have someone who wants to know a great question. How do I make a winning loan application? And since you're, leading underwriting, we'd love to hear more from you.
Absolutely, that's a very good question. So, as you know about the process, and if you don't, I'll just let you know about that in a very short way. So, as soon as you spend some time to submit your application, it goes through certain set of automated and manual checks based on the stated information that you've given us. We don't seek any documents at the beginning. And based on that, we do give you a conditional offer, or we might ask you for more information. Now, if it is a conditional offer or we're asking for new information, and as the application moves forward in the funnel, what we look for is a document that helps or verifies the information that you have stated in your application. This, just stick to this mantra, and I can promise you that it is going to be a winning application. You will have a very quick response from MPOWER on your application. So there's a joke that Claire did say, if you say that if you have a yard, please have a document that you have a yard with you. So that's all. Just have a document to verify the information that you have stated, and you're good to go.
Excellent. So Sasha, many people want to know, when's the best time to apply for a loan?
The best time to apply for an MPOWER loan is as soon as possible. And I think Mario said it really well earlier, that the best time would have been a month ago. The second best time is now. We can move quickly to help students who need last minute, last mile funding. But of course, the more time you allow, if we have questions about your application, questions about your documents, it's always best to start as early as possible so that we can help to resolve those questions and get you the funds that you need. It doesn't even matter if you are enrolled, or you're just applying for schools, or you have an outlet that you might want to apply later. We can still work with your application, and the quicker and sooner that you start, then essentially the stronger position that you'll ultimately be in.
Yeah, and also to add quickly on Sasha's great points, I think when you apply, I think that's also I have seen students who have been very successful on getting loans. Like say maybe they did their own initial searching, and maybe they have 3 or 4. Like after the first screening, the very highly likely school they are going to, and then while they finish their school application, then you can meanwhile you can submit a application for each school with us, because your application won't be officially approved after the offer you got or the admission you got from school, but all those doc review, all those the time-consuming part will also be finished around then. So the perks of doing that way is once you got the offer, then the review time will also be shortened with us. So I think so in short, agree with Sasha's earlier, the better. So make sure you just think about applying for the funding in conjunction with your applying for the school. So it's always a good habit to have.
Thank you both. I love the detailed answer. So Rini, we have a lot of questions from people who are currently in the MPOWER process and just have a few, want to know what's happening next. Can you, at a high level, walk us through the MPOWER loan process from, starting your app until you submit it?
Sure. So it takes about 30 minutes to fill in your application, as less as 30 minutes if you have all your information available with you. It happens in 5 steps with your personal information, financial information, the educational information, your previous employment, your previous studies that you have taken. So certain information that we would be taking from you in those 30 minutes. And once the application has been submitted, it, like I said, it moves through certain set of automated process or manual process, or sometimes we even give you an on-spot decision based on the stated information. Either you get a conditional offer or we let you know that we need more information, right? And moving on, once the initial decision has been made, we come back and seek the documentation for the information that you have stated. Post which, team works on verifying all of this information against what you have stated on your application. And based on what our algorithm tells us, we go ahead and approve, or if we need more information, we do come back to you again. And also, there's a dashboard that helps you in submitting the documents that is required. So whatever information you have stated on your application, you will have a set of document marked on your dashboard that would be required for us to make a decision quicker. But you can also make a decision to upload the optional documents that's mentioned there, which would strengthen your application further. Now, once the final decision has been made on your application, the next step is to send this information to the school, and the school certification process happens, just letting us know how much would you require to complete your semester successfully. And based on what the school certifies us, we would be sending the funds to the school. That's about it. In middle, you will get a certain set of emails from us, intimations on where your application is at certain point in time, and also a request to just sign the approval tills or the agreements, the credit agreements that you'll be getting from our end to expedite the process of disbursement or certifications going forward.
Thank you so much, Rini. So we're about to wrap up. So our chat moderators are going to share links that are useful moving forward. It wouldn't matter where you are in the process, whether you're still thinking about studying, you're about to be enrolled. We have content for you that'll help you the journey. But in the last few minutes, team, Sasha, Mario, if you had done the international education abroad over again, can you tell our audience one thing you do differently? And then Rini, I'm going to ask you about why is MPOWER the best product? And I'm going to start with Sasha.
I think I would have been a little bit more aggressive at applying for scholarships. MPOWER has lots of scholarships available for students. Just a reminder, scholarships are free money. Everybody loves them. And our wonderful chat moderators just dropped a link to them in the chat. MPOWER has lots of scholarships available, and we also partner with websites like internationalscholarships.com. And I think that scholarships should always be a primary funding means for students. So that's something which I would definitely recommend to all students, whether you're considering applying for an MPOWER loan or not.
Mario, if you did it all over again, what would you do?
I think for me, one thing I would have done differently is I would have started networking and looking for intern or job very early, because that was a very stressful time for me towards the graduation. I didn't get a job offer until my last semester, and even like maybe around 2 months before the graduation date. That was a stressful time. I saw many of my classmates who were successful that even for the master's degree, you have 1.5 or like 2 years program. Even after the first month, after you got your housing, everything settled, just start looking for interns or start doing the resume review, whatever, which we can offer you with a path to success. Make sure you start early on that, and then make sure you are very used to the interview environment or this atmosphere. And then get an intern, it's going to be very easy for you to get a full-time job. Then it's going to be step by step. Make sure you start early on networking, going to career fairs, and ready for the intern application early. That's my advice.
Nice. And then last but never least, Rini, why is MPOWER the best product for our international students?
I'm glad I got that question. I'm just going to wrap that all up. So what does not MPOWER helps with, right? You can apply for a loan with us 12 months in advance to start your program, right? It allows you to start planning that early. It funds your tuition, your living expenses, health insurance. Path to Success helps you in guiding you to meet your travel arrangements, your financial arrangements, your educational arrangements, what to look forward to, the interview process. So that's another story, and I can talk about that for a long time. Apart from that, before getting to, during the course of your program, you get to build your credit history. Like Sasha mentioned before, you can use that to get a job, to get a car, and whatnot, right? So MPOWER, all in all, helps to students before even they start, before they started their program, during the course of their program, because you just have to make the interest-only payment on a fixed interest rate. So like Mario mentioned, there are not going to be any surprises. It's only going to work in your favor. So, and after or while you're graduating, it also helps you or guides you through resume reviews and mock interviews. So yeah, I love MPOWER products. So
yeah, so I think we all love MPOWER. Can I get a... Yeah, you can tell it's early in the US. But just in summary, 1, planning ahead is your best friend, but you can't always plan ahead. When you can't plan ahead, MPOWER is also still here for you. So apply for a loan, a scholarship, or referral program as soon as you need it, and we'll be there. If you need to expedite anything, look at that contact us link in the chat. Let us know. We're happy to help you out if you have a tight deadline coming up. And then definitely, man, I say last but not least a lot. I need to hit a new catchphrase. But if you are worried about paying for the interest-only payments or paying for your back the loan during school, we have a variety of options our servicing team is very happy to work with you on to make sure that it's affordable so you can focus on your education. So plan ahead. When you can't, MPOWER is still here. And then we're happy to work with you even after you have the loan. Thank you everyone for attending today. Sorry for going a few minutes over. We'll send out a survey and some materials afterwards, and please stay tuned. We'll have another session in about 2 weeks. But thanks again, and thank you, panelists. Thanks for joining us today.